Elizabeth! Elizabeth, come here.
What's the fire? Oh, he's
Hey,
shooting
Elizabeth, what's up?
fireworks.
Oh yeah, Brad.
Is that Brad?
Hey.
What is that at me? I'm gonna charge the battery, though. Scaredy cat.
Elizabeth. Looky over here.
That's a good camera.
Look over here, Elizabeth.
It's easier to shake. That's not a knife to juice, but.
Easier to shake. Oh, it might.
This is Elizabeth's first bath in her tub. Oh, in the tub it is. And she's sleeping right through it.
Might as well give her a shower.
You're gonna drown her, poor girl.
You're not. Not even close. Are we even fit to be parents?
I don't know.
Hey, wake up, little lady. Whoa. Somebody tooted.
She's like,
That's
just
warm.
let me go to sleep. You got that camera, huh? You got that camera? You always have that singing you were doing a second ago. Whoa, she loves looking at cameras.
I noticed.
She won't ever smile though, she'll just stare at you. She kind of wants to talk to you, Stephanie. Sing her a song.
No,
like,
she's big.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
Does she like, what does she do?
She likes I am like a star shining brightly. If you know that one. Adam sings that too.
I've never heard it.
I am like a star shining brightly. That one? You never heard that? Are you taking a video? Oh. She has to be sneaky about taking videos of her. If she sees the camera, she'll just start staring at the camera and stop whatever she's doing.
No, maybe.
She's obsessed with that tag.
And that whole saucer that she has.
For her.
Uh-uh.
Look.
She says, I want to play with you. If you grab her feet and move them around, she really likes that. She used to like that a lot too.
Talk to her while you do it, Stephanie.
Oh, it's something silly.
I don't know.
I bet anything can get her to laugh. She's laughing a little bit. Huh?
She cute.
She saw the camera.
She's like
I think she's listening too.
I know. Like, dang it, she saw the camera. So when we get those cute pictures of her, it's because we were sneaky.
She's very cute.
Hi. Hi, Elizabeth. Does that taste good? Does that taste good?
I
Yum.
should see her face.
Yum.
You remember when your brothers were that little?
Yeah.
Like walk and run around.
She says, I gotta think about this.
They fell on her, but she didn't care. She just kept on playing.
Oh.
Not this ball. Because the ant only fell on her, not the ball. If that fell on her, she would grow up.
Oh.
Agoo.
Agoo.
Elizabeth. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Lizzie.
You got it. Let go. Let go.
You injured it?
Let go.
It hurts?
Hello.
That happened today? Oh my goodness. Wait a second, at home? Are you? Oh, it's Friday. You're home. I forget.
Is it swelling at all? Are you sitting down? Can you lift your knee up? Or can you lift your foot up just by sitting with just moving your knee?
She posing.
Yeah.
You probably get better light from this way.
Talking to me
Yeah,
too.
so you're sitting, your legs are bent, right?
Yeah, I probably would.
Now just straighten your leg. That hurts. Okay, now stand up. Where are you going?
She's driving a clutch.
Okay. Well, when you stand up,
She's trying to reach me.
and was the pain in the knee or was it on either side, or do you remember? Like you were stretching too hard, or right inside of it, like something was inside dragging? Okay. But there wasn't any pain.
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth. Oh, here comes the raspberries. Starting to learn how to do raspberries.
Yeah. Look at her.
What do you do with those feet?
That's what she's doing.
Yeah, Dad was excited to see you. He wishes he was here.
Oh, I bet.
She's enthralled by the camera.
What are you doing with those feet?
Yeah, I should take them out. They don't use them that often. But I've also got little
I don't know if you knew this, but your camera's set to email. Which means those little tiny itty bitty ones that you were taking.
What do you do with those feet?
kind of turtle, you know.
But, Eileen, you're gonna have to move so I can get out.
I'll go move it.
Oh, the keys are on top of the fridge.
It's open. Oh, you're
That's why.
Cause I'm taking Wayne's car. Are you sure that's
Oh, wait
okay?
a second. Good luck. You
She's
might.
used to keys being in
You
the
might.
car.
Yeah, you might want to direct her because it was tricky getting in past that tree in the van.
Anyway, if you want some, I'll let
That's
you
a
have it.
wide car.
She's better at driving than I am.
And she.
I don't know if you really have many.
Moving out anyway.
Woo.
Butterflies down here.
Hello. Yes,
All
Elizabeth.
the golden stones.
Elsie. That's what Stephanie calls her. Elsie.
She just wanted to be put down, that's all.
She doesn't want to be held.
Do you get the
I
little
guess that
yellow
makes
salad
sense. When she's
down
at
here?
home, she'll entertain herself for hours. Just sitting there.
Little yellow
Missed that.
Entertain herself for hours.
I need my back time.
I guess around here, she doesn't get...
She doesn't get that.
Everybody wants to hold her.
I just need. This is what I
We
need.
call them little yellow
This
salad.
is what I need.
We get them
We
up
just
there.
think she's the smartest thing ever.
I knew them as those little rock rollers.
Yeah, well, those are the caddis.
Yeah.
Water. Yeah. A bunch of them too.
Yeah. You gave it to me.
Turn the flash off. You're gonna get a reflection. Is the flash off?
It is running away from me.
And they come with a cage?
Oh, how pretty. What a pretty flower. Elizabeth. Ah.
Mama. Mama.
Hey, watch a little bit. A little time. I love you. It's Good morning, Mary Sunshine. How did you wake so soon? You scared away the little stars, and outshined all the moon. Was probably not the right way. But I love you. Do you remember this yet? Oh, I love you so much. Look it. Wake up, spring, where are you? Wake up. Come on, spring, let's have some fun. Lindy Liz, I love you. Mwah. Wow! Did you like that? Say hi, Cynthia. I love you. Oh, she loves you. She's looking for her again. You want to watch it? Splash, splash. Splash, splash. Look at you, keep going. What? Where's Elizabeth? There she is! Wow! 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 Where's Daddy? Whee! Peekaboo! Oh, wow. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Wiki! Wiki! Oh! It's raining! Woo! Daddy's foot.
You see the lightning reflecting off the pool.
Oh, so fun!
Elizabeth. How big is Elizabeth?
So big.
How big is Elizabeth?
So big. How big is Elizabeth? So big. She said,
Elizabeth! So big! How big is Elizabeth? How big is Elizabeth? So big! How big is Elizabeth? So big! How big is Elizabeth? So big! Elizabeth! I love you, I love you, I love you.
Good morning, merry sunshine. How did you wake so soon? You scared away the little stars, and outshined all the moon. Those probably weren't the right words. But I love you. I love you so much. Wake up, spring, where are you? Wake up. Come on, spring, let's have some fun. Lindy Liz, I love you. Mwah.
I got a poem.
Oh.
You got a poem?
The computer swallowed Grandma. Yes, honestly, it's true. She pressed Control and Enter, and she disappeared for you. It devoured her completely. The thought just makes me squirm. She must have caught a virus or been eaten by a worm. I've searched through this recycle bin and files of every kind. I even used the internet, but nothing did I find. In desperation, I asked Jeeves, my search was too refined. The reply from him was negative, not a thing was found online. So if inside your inbox, my grandma you should see, please copy, scan, and paste her and send her back to me.
That is cute. Copy, scan, and paste her. Send her back to me.
Yeah.
They want you to sing clickety-clack, Lynn.
Lickety-clack-a-lunk, the trains are coming a-chunk, clickety-clack a mile away. It hasn't a second of time to waste. It sings its noisy, rickety song. A rickety-rockety, rackety song. You're on the track, get out of the way, go on. Over the bridge, across the lake, a mile a minute it has to make. A terrible snake with flaming eyes that wiggles and wiggles along the ties. The cinders fall like fiery rain. The tunnel is waiting to swallow the train. Goodbye, goodbye, tomorrow will come again.
She's growing up.
Yeah, she's grown up, isn't she? She didn't do this when we saw her last. Yeah. Yes. Oh, well, let's get it all in there.
She's sure trying.
She's going to be hard to carry. Like one.
Yes. Can you hear some noises from the side?
I know.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to
Can
be
you hear
carried
some
sometimes?
noises from the side?
But Mom, yeah, when I've always like, Mom,
Yeah.
carry me in like a baby.
Aww.
And my other cousins in Arizona.
Are you gonna talk to me? Huh? You know I'm gonna holler at you.
Talk to her.
Says, I want to go places, Mom. Take me places.
Mom, if you make a really goofy song, she'll sing along.
Okay, do it. Now do some more.
Hey, don't let her.
Don't be scared about it. Like you're trying to clean it. Like you gotta keep
You go deep. Those little pores.
Yep. And realistically, just go like this. Bob's your Uncle Fanny's your aunt. Yep. Just do it nice and hard. Yep, just like that. That's perfect.
Scary.
They're not gonna be like, oh, shit.
Is your hand asleep
Need to
yet?
hear that?
It's better than any move.
He looked
Okay.
really good.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
My trash.
Yeah.
And then.
Okay, then you can get your needle and that ready. Now the way this works is these are vacuum tubes. So if you stick this in here and you push all the way down, you just lost your vacuum and you're not going to get any blood in here.
Okay.
So just set it in there. Once the needle is under the skin,
Then you push it.
then you can push this in and you've got a good seal because that's under the skin.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I get it in, then I push it.
Yep. So you're just going to slide it a little bit till the tip of your needle you can't see it anymore. And the slower you go, the more painful it is. Okay, that's good. Perfect. And then you push that in. Yeah. And that's where the skill takes because you got to hold this still while you're pushing that in. And
And
then
then how much do you want me to take?
that's good. And then
And
just
then take this out first?
take that out first. Now you got to have your gauze ready because
Gotcha.
once you pull that out, okay, go ahead and pull that out. There you go. That's it.
That hurt.
No.
You sure?
Applause, applause.
What kind of
Now,
blood do you have?
safety is your key. So watch where you're sticking your needle. Now this yellow
This
thing
goes
here,
up?
yep, that's a safety clip. So that's one of the first things you want to do once you pull that needle out is make sure
Safety
that
clip?
safety is
Okay.
done. You can have the patient hold this while you're worrying about your Band-Aid or worrying about
And
your
go like
safety.
this?
Yeah, or have them do that. But then you just take your Band-Aid and you have put it on there. It's already for you.
Oh, there's hair on it.
Sick.
I'll have to have my hair back when I take this one.
Definitely. Definitely your birthday.
Okay.
Just stick it right
Don't
in the
you
top of
even
there.
think about
Right.
bubbling mouth.
That's your dressing. Good.
Awesome. Alice is like,
So-
my turn. Thank you.
Smile. Smile and show us.
So yeah, you did everything perfect.
Robert Johnson, when he was getting older, they took him down to the farm and wanted him to get on a horse. And he didn't want to do it. All the grandkids were around watching him doing what he was.
If you hold it sideways, it'll show up on the computer side.
And they appealed to him and said, come on, get on a horse. We want to get on the horse.
Had he
We'll
never
help
been
you."
on a horse?
Hmm?
He'd never been on a horse?
Oh, he'd been on many times, but he was older and heavier.
Oh.
And so he went up, and the horse was a work horse, and it was this much higher than his head. Didn't have a saddle on or nothing. That'd be kind of hard for an older man to get on. And his grandkids said, here, we'll help you get on. He says, no, I'll get on. He said, they said, well, okay. So he grabbed a hold of the withers of the horse. He jumped about this far off the ground. Did that 3 or 4 times, and they puzzled about this. How are we going to get him on a horse? He's older. And they started teasing him about it. And he said, well, I ain't so young as I used to be. I used to get jump clean over the damn thing.
He's a pretty good jumper. That's funny.
John R. and Alice J. Nielsen had 3 sons and 4 daughters. The second son was a real challenge to raise. He had so much energy that they just had to keep him busy, and even then he managed to get into more than his share of mischief. Grandpa Alma Johnson had a large farm. When Lynn was not in school, there was plenty of farm work to do. It was hot working on the farm and hard work as well. Lynn did not enjoy farm work. It was customary to bring our lunch, and when it was time to eat, all would quit. We hunted shade in a shed or by a haystack, where we wolfed down our sandwiches and drank plenty of cool well water. A nice nap after dinner was the next plan, except for a 12-year-old boy. He all was quiet during that time, and so off he went, monkeying around, as Grandpa called it. On this particular day, Grandpa didn't nap. He dozed a bit, but his mind was concerned about the farm work that needed to be done. Where has that kid gone to be, he muttered to himself. If he is not going to rest, we might as well get back to work. He thought. It looks like he is up there in the brush, just standing there. Meanwhile, Lynn was occupied with his own mischief. He had wandered up the trail the horses used to go after a drink in the creek water. Lynn came to a rattlesnake that was in the process of eating a ground squirrel. This event sparked his interest, and he watched the drama taking place. Lynn knew that the rattler normally swallows its prey whole. In order to accomplish this feat, it often is necessary to dislocate its jaw bones to allow the whole ground squirrel to be swallowed. Lynn picked up the snake to examine it more carefully. He knew that after the larger part of the squirrel had entered the snake's mouth, it is almost impossible for the snake to spit it out of his mouth. The snake then would not be able to bite, and Lynn was using this to learn more about this rattler. Still, a bit of caution would be in order to allow for the unexpected. Time passes rapidly when one is engaged in an interesting or absorbing activity. Grandpa had walked up the trail, watching that boy standing alone and immovable in the hot sun amid the brush. As he neared Lynn, his curiosity increased. What could that boy be doing? Obviously, completely in his own little world, Grandpa walked up behind Lynn and looked over his shoulder to see what he was doing. He was shocked and horrified to see Lynn holding a live rattler in his bare hands. Instinctively, Grandpa yelled and sprang back away from the snake. Lynn, already a bit apprehensive about the wisdom of handling a live snake, was startled by the sudden loud yell in his ear, coming without any warning from behind. Tranquility to sudden pandemonium. Memory fails to recall all the details of the next few seconds of time. I do remember that Grandpa wasn't very happy about the whole affair, and work after lunch that day got started a little earlier than usual.
That would be scary. Holding a rattlesnake.
Sam was enthusiastic with life and the great out of doors. When he was a college student, he found it hard to get away from schoolwork to pursue his hunting interest. On this particular Saturday, time was made available. The old Jeep took Sam, Karen, and Dad to the end of the road under the burnt hill. Hurriedly, a plan was made for Sam to go west on the lower terrace toward Pole Haven country. Dad and Karen were to follow west along the upper terrace. We planned to meet in the clearing near the west end, then return to the Jeep together. I recorded this story on the 28th of November, 1998. And I'll have to have you look at the picture of Toby, my dog.
Look at the picture. Mommy,
To appreciate this, you gotta see Toby. I don't have any pictures of him. Martha Alice painted a picture of him.
well, that's down in the basement on the wall.
Yeah. That's my dog, Toby. Okay. If you've got dogs, you'll be able to relate to this. The time was probably 1934, when Lynn was a freshman in high school and about 14 years of age. I loved the outdoors and especially hunting pheasants. I longed to have a good hunting dog, and Dad finally got me an English pointer pup. It was a clumsy, short-haired pup and didn't seem to me to be very smart. My sister Margaret just adored it and spent quite a bit of time playing with it. I wondered how I could ever train that pup to hunt pheasants. I'd observed pheasant hunters out with their dogs hunting. They spent all their time yelling and swearing at their blasted dogs, who gaily pranced off across the fields, gleefully scaring off all the pheasants around, completely unmindful of their owners' shouts and frustrations. Fate played a part in the events that subsequently took place. First, there was a tragedy that occurred. Margaret had the pup dressed up in doll clothes and was pushing it around in a little doll baby buggy. She picked the pup up and somehow she dropped it. The poor little thing landed on its head. Through the tears and the sobs, we learned that it had died. A funeral was held, and the pup was ceremoniously buried in our backyard. The second event was that Dad tried to console the young boy by telling him we would find another dog. Secretly, I knew that it was no loss for me, but it did give me good excuse to tease my younger sister. A week or so later, Dad asked about the new pup. I said, "No, Dad. Oh, I've already found one." It was a mongrel pup that was running around without an owner. It was black and shaggy, with spindly legs and giant paws. He was about as ungainly a pup as one could ask for. The honest assessment is that he was downright ugly. He badly wanted and needed an owner and some food. He responded eagerly to my overtures for friendship. Before long, the bond was made between the two of us. Grandpa Alma Johnson had a farm and raised cattle. He used dogs with the cattle. When he saw my pup, he said, "Lynn, Usually when a dog is ugly, he's also smart. But when you get one both ugly and dumb, you've really got something. I named him Toby. No one liked that name, but he was friendly and eager to learn. I loved him, but I wanted a hunting dog. My challenge was to train him so that he would be good to use hunting. This is where our story really begins. I loved to roam the hills above my home. Pup was eager to follow along with me. Jackrabbit jumped from beneath the sagebrush and bounded across the hillside with a wildly barking pup in hot pursuit, but losing ground rapidly. I called him to come back. In his excitement, he neither heard nor obeyed. I became upset, because unless he obeyed me, he would be just like other dogs, worthless. It pleased me, though, to see that he loved to hunt. The pup soon lost the rabbit's tracks and returned to me. I scolded him and gave him a little slap on the nose. He then ran playfully around the bushes, looking for another rabbit. I would call him back to me quite often and teach him to come to me when I called. I did this often to help him learn that I did not want him to go too far away from me. He seemed to begin to learn what I wanted, but alas, another exciting rabbit jumped up in front of him, and off he went again, yapping and ignoring my calls. I again scolded him when he returned. He was playful and energetic, obviously having lots of fun. Apparently he was unaware of my efforts to train him. How could I get through to him? I pondered my problem. I knew that a well-trained dog without much hunting ability was far better than a good hunter completely out of control. I decided on a plan. A day or so later, I was again in the hills trying to train that pup. Another rabbit lured the pup away, barking and not obeying. When he returned, his owner was not there. The pup wandered around whining. When he could not find his owner, suddenly that ugly old nose went to the ground, and ere long he found his owner hiding behind a rock. Again I scolded the pup, but he was so happy that he found me. I'm afraid my training was not being effective. I smiled inside, though, however, because I knew now that the dog had a good nose and knew how to use it. Yes, he was a real hunter. He's got to be trained. But how can I get through to this energetic pup? He was obviously smarter than his owner. This made me mad. I pondered more, then made another plan. Wasn't too long before a yapping pup bolted off on another jack hunt. This time I noticed that he broke stride one time when I called him to come, but the excitement was just too great a temptation for him. In due time he returned, but his owner was not there. You see, this time the owner was going to outsmart that wily pup. Soon the owner saw the pup's nose go to work. The trail led around some bushes, over a little hill, and back to the original spot the owner was in. And then that keen nose picked up a fresher scent, which led to the trunk of a nearby pinyon pine tree. The trail led up the pine tree into the branches. This pup's owner was not in the tree. Unknown to the pup, I had climbed from one branch to another, moving from one tree to another, finally hiding in another nearby tree without leaving the telltale trail to follow. Yet I was in a nearby tree, observing the pup's every move. Front legs on the tree trunk, the pup scanned the tree. He then circled the tree, trying to pick up another scent. This failing, he backtracked, searching for a clue that he might have overlooked. I was in the nearby tree, watching, learning, and marveling at the pup's ability to hunt. I wondered, too, if my methods of training were really going to get this pup under control. I stayed there in the tree until the pup had exhausted all of his tricks. He finally came to the spot where he left me. There he looked around, listening carefully for more clues. He then began to whimper and whine. I thought that I finally had his attention. I made a slight noise. Yes, I had his undivided attention. His ears were up, his nose testing the wind, and his eyes taking in every detail. I made him use those ears to find me. You see, I was learning too, and training him that his ears were an important part of his hunting skill. Yes, I did get through to him, and spent all summer training him on how I wanted him to hunt. He became an excellent hunter, and although he was not a pointer, he knew how to set on a pheasant and let me do the shooting, get into shooting position. At my verbal command, he would flush the bird and wait for me to shoot. He became an outstanding bird dog. He went on many hunts with him. I did, usually with a brother or friends. It was a real joy to hunt with him. He always came up to me after flushing a bird, thrilled with what he had done, to get a cherished pat on the head. He always told me when he was on a scent. At my command, he would follow the bird and try to get it to hide. He would then wait for my voice command on what to do. My hunting companions loved to come along when I had Toby as my bird dog. I spent lots of times with that ugly old dog. The most memorable event with this dog came after this fall during the pheasant hunt. My brother Errol and I were hunting down a fence row west of Manti. Errol was on one side of the fence to shoot the pheasants that came out on that side of the fence. I was on the other side of the fence with the dog, where the cover was the heaviest. With all of this dog training, I felt this like the poor pheasants really didn't have a chance. The dog was 10 feet in front of me, working the cover. Soon his tail told me that he was on a pheasant. I warned Errol to get ready. I told Toby to go ahead. He cautiously moved forward until the bird was set. At my command, the dog again cautiously moved ahead, then pounced into the brush. The rooster pheasant flushed out in a perfect position. Everything had worked perfectly. I raised my gun and fired. It was a clean miss. I don't really know why I missed, or why I did not shoot again. I probably had my attention on the dog. I do, however, ever vividly remember that 75 years later, how that shaggy old dog whirled his head from a pointed position and looked at his owner with the most disgusted look his owner had ever had. You see, that smart old hunting dog never really did get that stupid old owner trained. This is one of the little monkeys that I whittled.
Oh, is that one you did?
Yeah.
Okay, I wondered.
Not Natalie, Rachel saw the one that I had and she wanted to make one. So she's working on a peach pit. She has me the knife that I used to make them with. And she's working on a peach pit to make one of these. I had two of them that I was working on. One of them I didn't like the head too well. The other one was a pretty good one. And Tanya's husband, I can't think of his name, wanted one. He never did have one, and so I gave him one. I kept the other one. And I've used it as a pattern for Rachel. She has it, and she is working on a peach pit to make a monkey out of it. This is a tiny peach pit. It's not a full-size peach pit. I got a bunch of small peach pits that I made these little ones out of. Not a lot of them were made with the big peach pit.
Mm-hmm.
Dad used. Go ahead.
Was that your knife? Your knife in the drawer?
Yeah, the knife is right here. Yeah.
I wonder if
No,
that
but there's
was
a
your
little
hair.
knife in that box.
Huh?
Whose hair is that, and whose knife in the box?
I'm wondering if that's your hair, his hair, if the peach pits with, if this was things that was his hair.
Well, it is a lock of hair. You know, one of the good things about it, there's actually two locks here.
Mm-hmm.
The good thing about it is that it's not labeled, so we don't know whose it is.
What about the knife?
The knife is just a knife that somebody gave me. It's no good. Didn't want to throw it away, and so I just hung on to it.
I kind of would suspect that maybe might have been even a lock of your hair, since the other things that are in there are yours.
Yes, it could easily be, and I can't tell you. I wonder if this, I made one of these. Well, Dad used to make them. And the reason he made them is because he couldn't stand to go to meetings and wait for 30 minutes for people to show up, past time to start, and he was so nervous that he had to have something to do. So he got in the habit of putting a peach pit in his pocket and his pocket knife. And he'd sit down there wherever he happened to be, whittle on this peach pit until they got ready to decide to start the meeting. He was on the city council, and the mayor was Wilfred Frischnick, and he was a politician. He made sure that he was late to everything, because that built up his ego, and he liked that. And Dad would go there and sit and wait, and he wouldn't come, and he wouldn't come, and Dad got disgusted, and he'd start the meeting without him. And about a third of the meetings that they had, the city council meetings, they were done without the mayor being there. So when he came way late, they said, "We've taken care of all the business. What do you want to do?" And he was kind of unhappy because he wasn't there to do what he was supposed to. And he said, "Everybody else was here sitting waiting. No need of waiting for you." So anyway, when we had one of the reunions after Mom and Dad had passed away, Mom may have still been alive. We had the reunion up where she was living. It's
Yeah.
a little house across the road.
Yes,
from
he can have wheat flour.
the house that we lived in.
Okay.
And we were getting ready to have that reunion. And Martha Alice was kind of in charge of it. And she said, now, all of you, what we want you to do this year is to do something and bring to that to remind us of your parents, either your dad or your mother. And Martha Alice, I think, brought a bunch of Mom's recipes. And I didn't know what to do, and so I decided I'd make a monkey like Dad made. And I, of course, didn't have much time. It takes a lot of time to make them. And I only had, I can't remember now, 2 or 3 made. I brought 2 there. And when we had that reunion, I gave those to some of the people that were there. And they were so interested in them. They said, we'd all like one. And so I took a project of making one for each of my brothers and sisters and their companions. And that's what got me started making them. And I kept making them while I was working at the ASC office. We were required by law to take a 15-minute break in the morning and a 15-minute break in the afternoon. And so I just didn't want to sit there, so I sat there and whittled monkeys. A lot of the other people, they would get soft drinks. Some of them got Coca-Colas and Pepsis and stuff like that. Got addicted to drinking those, and I spent my time making these little monkeys. And I made one for each one of the office workers in my office and their neighbors, the people around there. I gave a lot of them out. May was working in our office, May Peterson. She came to us when she found out that Rachel was trying to make one and said, I have the one that you made for me. I'll be glad to give it to you. She says, I love it dearly. I don't want to give it up, but if you need it, you're welcome to it back. By then my eyesight had gone so bad I couldn't see to do it anymore. And I had just those 2 that I was working on. The one wasn't too good. The head wasn't the right shape. I didn't want it the right shape. And the other one was a pretty good one, and I gave it to Tanya's husband. And the other one I still have, and it's Rachel has it. It's so tiny that I had to put a string on it so you wouldn't lose it. But she is trying to make one at the present time. I don't know whose this one is. I wouldn't be surprised. It may be Shirley's, is it?
Oh no, I think you said there was a box there that had a lot of things. I would kind of wonder if somebody.
Do we have anything during 5?
I was in Vietnam, in Kuala Lumpur, in Indonesia, and I was with a little member of a branch presidency in the Ho Chi Minh City branch that used to be Hanoi, Vietnam. But thank you, Saigon. It was about 108 degrees, about 150% humidity, and this little counselor in the branch presidency had on his suit coat and an overcoat. And I looked at him and I said, what are you doing? It's hot. He said, well, it's a little chilly today. So it all just depends on where you are. And when you've just come from there, it's a little chilly, so I have my coat on. I'm not a wimp. Brothers and sisters, we commend you for all that you do to help proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is much more than a theatrical performance. This is an opportunity to bear witness of the living reality of the Eternal Father and of His only begotten Son, even the Lord Jesus Christ. So as fun as it is, and given all that you do and the makeup and the costumes and everything else, don't let that obscure your vision of what this is really about, which is people of faith collectively bearing witness that He lives. In the Old Testament, we read about a vision given to Daniel wherein he saw a stone that was cut out of the mountain without hands. And that stone rolled forth into the earth, and it filled the earth. That stone is representative of the kingdom of God on the earth. Now let me take you for just a few minutes with me to some of the places that I go on the earth, so that you can learn about the stone cut out of the mountain without hands that is indeed filling the earth. Just 3 weeks ago, Sister Bednar and I were in Jakarta, Indonesia, to create the first Stake of Zion in Indonesia. Now, if I say something, would you please not put it in blogs and in the internet? Don't feel an obligation to just shoot this all over the world. Can I trust you with that? Okay. Do you realize that Indonesia is the largest Muslim nation in the world? 300 million people. Within that nation, about 10 to 15% of the people are Christians. And you might be aware that we don't actively proselyte with Muslims, but we do proselyte in the Christian community. To have a Stake of Zion, to have a patriarch, to have all of the blessings associated with the establishment of a Stake of Zion in Indonesia.
If you have a mosquito spray, will you please spray my life?
Church history.
Do you?
Some of you portray periods of time in the Restoration back to Kirtland or Nauvoo or Missouri.
Just spray my leg.
Well, those days are still underway in different parts of the world.
That's all.
And so in various places that you might travel to, it's the church and it's Kirtland, or it's the church and it's Nauvoo, or it is the church and it's Salt Lake. There are present-day pioneers. If you were to go to Indonesia, meet with the members of that stake in Jakarta, you would be stunningly surprised at the spiritual strength and capacity of great priesthood and auxiliary leaders, moms and dads, husbands and wives. It's quite a remarkable thing to see. That was 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Elder Nelson was in Moscow, Russia, to create the first Stake of Zion in Russia. Now, as I look around at this audience, I see a few folks who are old enough to remember the Soviet Union and to remember nuclear air raid drills. When I was a kid in school in California in the 1960s, we used to have drills about what you would do if there was a nuclear attack from the Soviet Union. I will not ask for a show of hands because that would be telling your age. But for those of you old enough to remember those days, you, like me, never would have thought that in our lifetime the gospel would be proclaimed in the former Soviet Union. And if someone would have ever said in the 1960s that there would be a Stake of Zion in Moscow, Russia, a temple in Kiev, Ukraine, and other things that we see rolling forth in the world, you would have said there's just no way. Now, those are two things that have occurred just in the last month. That is significant church history. And there are some who say, why are things not happening? Why don't we see the miracles today that occurred in the early days of the Restoration? I don't want to be or seem harsh, but someone who says that has no eyes to see and has no ears to hear. It is no different. I would suggest to you, it is accelerating. It is even greater. And when you consider just the two things I briefly described, I truly stand all amazed. Now, Elder Piper was the president of the Europe East area that oversaw the work in Russia. And I can't mention the creation of a stake in Moscow without thinking of Elder Piper and inviting him to share any thoughts he would like to share and to bear his testimony about what he's seen transpire in that part of the world. Elder Piper.
I done tell you a story about a man named Jeff. He went fishing in the fishing hole and slipped and fell in, but just about broke his rocker. That's all I got to say about that. My God, dadgummit. I'm some crazy cooking, my God. I'm looking for some hoppers. Them little hoppers, they could go burn around. I was cutting with my old 10-gallon hat. Goddamn amnesia. That blame, nothing more than fried up tastes real good.